Cats. You think you know them, and then they do something completely wild. Believe it or not, our moggies share 96% of their DNA with a tiger, as well as traits from every other fantastic feline in the cat family. So how did one of the world's deadliest predators end up swapping the jungle for suburbia and the wilderness for home comforts? This time, we meet the Mythbusters, the rarest and most bizarre cats of all.
The most amazing thing for me about the Canada lynx is they're designed like no other cat.
From the biggest to the smallest cats on the planet, we reveal how the superpowers they share with our moggies have helped them conquer the harshest and most surprising places. These are the super cats. The cats that break all the rules. Cats. There's nothing they like more than warming up in front of a glowing fire. Cats feel heat differently to us. They have fewer receptors, so don't react to high temperatures in the same way. We feel discomfort from heat at around 44 degrees Celsius, but cats don't react until it's over 50 degrees. So they'll carry on basking, even when it's way too hot for us. Cats crave warmth and hate the cold. Or do they? America's Rocky Mountains. In winter, temperatures drop to minus 40 degrees. It's a far cry from the fireside. But amazingly, there's a wild cat that lives here year-round. The Canada lynx. It's about twice the size of a moggy, with really thick fur and long, muscular back legs. The little tufts on their ears are thought to channel sound into the eardrum and give them super sensitive hearing. These two young lynx brothers, Rocco and Raspy, have been hand-reared, but still show many natural behaviours. Heather Keepers has raised them from kittens.
Rocco loves to play. He loves to hunt. This is just a piece of deer hide tied to a string, just like your house cat would play with a little mouse on a string. This is his mouse. Hi! And I am his two-legged mom. I've been raising him since he was about 2 weeks old. Good boy. And he's only about half grown right now. He still has got to put on another probably 15 to 20 pounds before he's full grown. So he's still kind of a kid. Good boy.
Without proper clothing, we would die of hypothermia out here in a matter of hours. A heat-sensitive camera shows how well insulated Heather is in her thermal gear. Anything white is where heat is escaping.
I have a lot of layers on to keep me protected from this extreme cold. I just took off my gloves, which are extremely thick. I have 2 pairs of socks on, as well as heavily insulated snow boots, a beanie to keep my head warm that keeps my body temperature regulated as well. And I'm still cold.
Incredibly, Rocco's fur is so dense, he only loses heat around his eyes and ears. And a thick ruff of hair around his neck, seen in black, keeps his head extra warm. But when it comes to getting about in deep snow, it's all down to Rocco's paws.
Their feet are actually little replicas of snowshoes. They're very, very wide, like big dishes, and it allows them to span over the top of the snow and basically glide on top of it so that they don't sink.
Using their inbuilt snowshoes, Canada lynx can cover 11 miles a day through the snow. They hunt another animal with oversized feet. The snowshoe hare. In winter, snowshoe hares make up more than 3/4 of the lynx's diet, but they're really hard to catch. Using their giant feet, hares can bound at nearly 30 miles an hour. Bizarrely, over millions of years, this cat has come to look more and more like the hare it's trying to catch.
The most amazing thing for me about the Canada lynx is they're designed like no other cat. Their back legs are longer than their front. Their skeletal structure is more similar to actually a hare instead of a regular cat. If you were to put a snowshoe hare skeleton right next to a lynx, the only difference really is their head and their feet. I think that's pretty incredible.
With those extra long back legs and inbuilt snowshoes, they move across the snow just like the hares they chase. No luck this time. But it's all good practice. Canada lynx aren't the only felines that bust the myth that cats hate cold. In Russia's frozen north, one cat pushed its body to even greater extremes. The Siberian tiger, the biggest cat in the world. It can weigh more than 300 kilos. That's nearly 50 stone. Being big means they lose less body heat to the outside world. In the cold, size matters. From Siberia to the suburbs. Our pet cats are also pretty well insulated. Thicker winter coats maintain their body temperatures just below 40 degrees Celsius. Like the Canada lynx, they lose most heat through their heads. But there's another feline trait that's been pushed to extremes in the wild. The cat's love of heights. Our pet cats love to climb. Rooftops offer a good lookout to survey their territory and spot any dangers. But for some wild cats, the higher the better. Forget the roof of our homes. They're on the roof of the world. The Himalayas. Reaching more than 4 miles above sea level, with little oxygen and freezing temperatures, these are the highest peaks on the planet. Until recently, it was thought only one cat could cope with life at extreme altitude. The snow leopard. Powerful lungs help them absorb what little oxygen is in the atmosphere. And they've got wider noses than other leopards to help heat the chilled air before it reaches the lungs. Snow leopards are endangered. Their numbers have dropped by 20% in the last 2 decades due to poaching and loss of prey. Now there could be as few as 4,000 snow leopards left in the wild. But because they are found in such remote, inaccessible places, numbers are really hard to estimate. In Nepal, a team of high-altitude scientists are setting up remote cameras to try and monitor them. Trekking to nearly 3 miles above sea level, this is one of the highest snow leopard surveys ever undertaken. The team captures rare and intimate footage of snow leopards. But the best is yet to come. Images of a mother and her cubs are proof they are even breeding at this altitude. For biologist Gangaram Regne, it's exciting news.
This is the first time we captured 3 babies and 1 mother in a single camera frame.
But then, something most unexpected happens. A furry-looking cat with a strong resemblance to Garfield pops up on camera.
It just walked down in front of the camera. It's just playing on the ground.
It's a cat never seen before in Nepal. High in the Himalayas, scientists tracking snow leopards make a bizarre discovery. A mysterious cat with an uncanny resemblance to Garfield, nearly 3 miles above sea level. Is it a baby snow leopard or a completely new species of cat in Nepal? Biologist Tashi Gale is baffled.
In the beginning, I didn't know, we saw a small leopard. So I posted on Facebook.
Gangaram Regne recognizes it immediately.
When I saw the photo, then I completely surprised. I did not sleep whole night.
The same evening, many colleagues identified that it's a Pallas cat.
So not a baby leopard, but a Pallas cat. These furry little felines were known to exist in Mongolia and elsewhere in Central Asia. But no one had any idea they were in Nepal, or had such a head for heights. The Pallas cat is one of the oddest looking felines of all. About the same size as a moggy, it has the thickest fur of any cat. With short, stumpy legs, it can't run very fast. But low ears and grey colouring offer excellent camouflage amongst the boulders. The Pallas cat uses this to its advantage. Peering, or periscoping, over rocks to spot its dinner. It's the cat's need to always move away from where they are born and establish new territories that have pushed them into ever more remote parts of the planet. There's no greater example than the furry little Pallas cat high in the Himalayas. From the fireside to the frozen north, from the roof of our homes to the roof of the world, cats turn up in the most unexpected places. But if you've ever had to try and wash your cat, you'll know there's one thing they hate: water. Cats can clean themselves and should only be washed on the advice of your vet. Scientists believe they hate getting wet because they evolved from a species of desert-living cat that rarely encountered rain. But in the swamps of Sri Lanka, there's one wild cat that busts this age-old myth. It's called the fishing cat. And for biologist Anya Ratanayake, it beats the big cats paws down.
The first time I saw a fishing cat, I was floored because it was not anything I expected, really. Because growing up, everyone's drilled on the whole big cat thing. Kind of felt like somebody was keeping a really big secret from me for a long time. So that's when I realized that, forget the leopard. I mean, who cares about them? Let's start working with the small guys.
So Anya started tracking fishing cats in the swamps around Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo.
Fishing cats are generally a wetland species. They depend on a water body. So where we are right now is perfect fishing cat habitat. Lots of fish around, really good cover, limited human interaction in here, so it's just great for the cats.
So where there are fish, there should be a fishing cat. About the size of a spaniel, they have a stocky build and a thick-set neck. And they're champion anglers. 3/4 of their diet is fish and crustaceans. But what's really clever is how they catch fish in murky water, without even seeing them. They use their whiskers. It's a trick also used by our pet cats. Cats have excellent long-distance vision, but anything less than 30 centimeters away appears blurred. So when it comes to delivering the deadly bite, they're not using their eyes, but their whiskers. In a split second, they throw them forward to surround the prey. Each of the whiskers works out the exact orientation of the mouse, so they can make a clean kill. The fishing cat does exactly the same thing, but underwater. Dipping their whiskers into the river, they sense tiny currents as fish swim past, so they can swipe dinner without even seeing it. It's one of the secrets of this myth-busting cat.
People generally think that cats hate water, but fishing cats have a semi-aquatic lifestyle, so they're very adapted to water.
But in the jungles of South America, one big cat has taken its love of water to even greater depths. It's often said, cats hate water. But in South America, one big cat loves to take a dip. The jaguar. Weighing up to 100 kilos, they are the biggest cat in the Americas and are brilliant swimmers. This might look like doggy paddle, but these powerful predators can swim hundreds of meters across rivers. In captivity, they've even been known to dive underwater in search of food, holding their breath for more than 30 seconds. In the wild, they could use these sub-aqua skills to hunt turtles and fish. They are the world's most impressive free-diving felines. While some cats have embraced a watery life, for others it poses a challenge. Our pet cats and their wild cousins communicate and find mates through smell. Scent marking lets other cats know they're around and looking for love. But in the jungle, where a metre of rain can fall in a single month, these scent marks are constantly washed away. So finding love in the rainforest is not easy. That will be the challenge for one young jungle cat at a rescue centre in Costa Rica when he's released back into the wild. Dexter Lewis Miller has been looking after Namu, a 1-year-old male ocelot, since he was a kitten.
Namu! Namu Woki! Namu Woki!
This is Namu.
Namu was brought here by a local community. When he first came here, he was probably about 1 week old, maybe 2 weeks old. He was very, very young. Yeah, Mo. Me and Namu, we're really close. Yeah, we spend very much time together, pretty much every day. Pretty much like his really good friend, almost like a dad for him.
Every day, Dexter takes Namu for a walk to get him used to the sights, sounds, and scents of the forest. Ocelots are found in South and Central America. In the 1970s and 80s, they were hunted for the fur trade and nearly driven to extinction. Now every ocelot is precious. They feed on a variety of jungle animals. And Namu is learning fast. At 1 year of age, Namu will soon start to look for a mate. And he does this by producing a powerful pong.
The ocelots, they're very, very smelly cats. There's spray everywhere they go.
This pungent scent contains pheromones, chemicals that attract the opposite sex. Being able to detect pheromones will be crucial to Namu if he is to find a mate in the jungle. So Dexter's setting up a bizarre scent test for him with some of the finest perfumes.
Today we're going to be testing Estee Lauder, Calvin Klein, and Chanel. But we'll see which one he likes the most.
This may seem strange, but some perfumes also contain pheromones. And it's thought that ocelots confuse certain brands with the scent of a potential mate. In the wild, scientists use perfumes to tempt ocelots close to their camera traps. It's a harmless way to monitor their numbers. So will Namu detect the pheromones? He's not keen on the first one. But this one has certainly taken his fancy.
The middle log has the perfume of Estee Lauder. You like it very much.
But for Dexter, the most important thing is how Namu detects the perfume. He doesn't just smell it through his nose, as we do. Namu uses his tongue to flick particles to a special scent detector inside his mouth. Our pet cats do this too. If a tomcat comes across the scent of a female, he'll open his mouth and taste the air. It's known as the Flehmen response, and it helps cats communicate through scent. When Namu is released into the jungle, this super sense should help him sniff out the perfect partner.
Namu will use this technique to try to find a love. He's gonna be loving the jungle, but also he's gonna remember us for a very long time as well. I would miss him very much, that's for sure. But I'm very happy if one day he take off and just start living in the wild.
We've seen how our Moggy's wild cousins have been pushed to extreme places by the need to always find new territory. It means they've had to constantly adapt and change their diet to what's around. But all cats are fussy eaters. Strict carnivores, their stomachs can only digest meat and flesh. Way back in their evolutionary history, a genetic mutation meant cats lost the ability to taste sweet things. Which is why our pet cats show no interest in fruit or berries. In the wild, being strict carnivores means cats have to be phenomenal hunters. But if you thought cats only hunted mammals, fish and birds, think again. In Sri Lanka, there's a pocket-sized puss with a most unusual diet. The rusty spotted cat. Weighing just over 1 kilogram, a third of the weight of a domestic cat, it's one of the smallest felines of all. Biologist Chandika Jayaratne is one of the few people ever to have studied this cat.
Rusties might look like a tiny little domestic cat, but they're far from it. They're more like a, would you say, a tiny leopard? When they're born, I mean, a newborn kitten could weigh as much as a chicken egg. So that shows you how tiny these cats are.
Being small, fast and well camouflaged means they're incredibly hard to spot.
I've seen in the wild. I always see them at like the most unluckiest of times when I don't have a camera or the camera's run out of battery.
Don't be fooled by their delicate frame. Size for size, rusty spotted cats are said to have the bite strength of a tiger. But it's what they eat that surprised Chandika.
It's surprising to think that a cat would eat an insect, but they're easy to catch. There's no real threat from locusts biting back. So, and also very nutritious and high in protein.
Rusty spotted cats are one of the few species of insect-eating cats. Some pet cats do this very occasionally too. In the jungles of Sri Lanka, eating insects has given this tiny terror the edge. But in the desert, there's one small cat with a more sinister diet. It shares a trick with Dracula. Our purring pets crave warmth, hate water, and only eat meat. But to survive in the harshest places, their wild cousins break all the feline rules. But there's one habitat so extreme, it seems impossible a cat could survive there. The desert. With temperatures rising to 47 degrees Celsius, this is one of the hottest, driest places on Earth. Yet one hardy little cat can live here. thanks to its sinister diet. The sand cat. A bit smaller than a domestic cat, their paws are covered with a thick layer of wiry hair to stop them burning their feet on the sand. It's said they can survive without water longer than a camel, thanks to a chilling secret. Like Dracula, sand cats consume the blood of their prey. They get all the moisture they need from the flesh and blood of small mammals. And their favorite food and drink is a desert rodent called a jerboa. But they're hard to catch. They can leap 10 feet in one bounce. The sand cat is another example of how cats have adapted to live in the most unlikely habitats. But perhaps the strangest place of all to find a wild cat is not the desert or the rainforest, but the urban jungle. Across the world, gardens, parks and pavements have always been the preserve of our domestic cat. Big wildcats only exist in the remote wilderness. Or so we thought. Imagine this Moggie's surprise when it came face to face with its 100-kilo cousin, the mountain lion in America. Across the states, there are more and more reports of these big cats turning up close to towns and cities, including the most famous of all, the Hollywood mountain lion. This recent photograph, taken by remote camera, shows a mountain lion on the outskirts of Los Angeles. How can such a top predator survive so close to the city? Biologist Jeff Sikich has the job of tracking mountain lions, also known as pumas or cougars.
I'm really fascinated with the urban landscape and how we still have this large carnivore. It's actually our last remaining large carnivore in the mountains here, surviving next to one of the largest urban areas in the world, Los Angeles.
As part of his research, Jeff tracks 10 different mountain lions in the Santa Monica Mountains around Los Angeles. From the GPS tracks, Jeff can tell that one collared female, called P39, has remained in the same area for some time. It's an exciting sign.
So we're looking at a cluster of GPS points for P39. And there's a cluster of points from a little over a day and a half. And it looks like she has a kill. So we're going to hike into this area, to this cluster, and see what she killed and is hopefully feeding on.
Mountain lions aren't fussy about what they eat. They'll take anything from small mammals to adult deer.
Mountain lions are ambush predators, so they'll actually stalk their prey and get pretty close, sometimes within ideally 10 to 15 meters, where they have a burst of speed. Mountain lions are more sprinters than endurance runners, so they're extremely quick.
The GPS tracks lead Jeff to a steep mountainous area next to a major freeway. It seems an unlikely place to find a top predator. But there's evidence our mountain lion is still in the vicinity.
This is real fresh urine right here. We have a track of her. Has some hair. Very strong odor. I smell the kill too, so we're real close.
Mountain lions hide their food and return to it for several days. For Jeff, it's a giant game of hide and seek.
So yeah, it looks like P39 killed an adult doe mule deer. She killed this deer around 80 meters from here, drug it down to this spot, covered up the kill, keeping the scent down, hopefully keep scavengers away. This is a classic mountain lion kill site right here that we find in the LA area.
But will our elusive mountain lion return to her hard-won kill? Jeff sets up a surveillance camera and leaves it running overnight. The following day, he reviews the footage.
All right, so we have P39 right here, coming back to the kill right at 7 p.m.
It shows our mountain lion is in good health. A sign she's hunting well and there's plenty of food around.
Yeah, so this is great. You can see her really tearing at the meat right there, ripping the flesh off the bone. The teeth are great for shredding away the flesh.
The mountain lion only arrived in the Hollywood Hills in 2012. Jeff's studies are showing how urban life is changing their behavior. Mountain lions here hold much smaller territories than those in the wilderness. And finding a mate is a dangerous business. They often have to cross busy 8-lane freeways. In America, it's a sign of things to come. As the urban sprawl creeps into the cat's natural habitat, mountain lions will come into ever closer contact with man, even if we don't see them.
The amazing thing is with these mountain lions, we've been studying them in the Santa Monica Mountains, where we have millions of visitors every year. We have a lot of freeways and development. And the amazing thing is these cats stay elusive. And even us researchers who follow them pretty much daily, we know where they are on that hillside with our telemetry, and yet we still don't see them.
The elusive mountain lion shows just how versatile cats can be. It's found in almost every habitat. And now, next to one of the world's busiest cities. It's the latest chapter in the cat's 11 million year evolutionary story. Through this series, we've discovered how the first cats evolved in the jungles and developed special limbs to climb up and down trees. We've seen how they grew thick coats to live in the cold, large lungs to hunt on the roof of the world, and a taste for blood to survive in the desert. No other group of predators has been able to adapt to such an extreme range of habitats. But today, the most numerous cat of all is the one in our front rooms. There are 600 million domestic cats worldwide, and they are found in every corner of the globe. By giving up the wild and coming to live alongside us, our purring pets have become the most successful cat of all.
So what's the future for Mary?